Welcome back, guys, to the Men's Talk Show, episode number 5. I'm Wayne. I'm here with Duran and Chris, and today we're going to talk about toxic traits in romantic relationships. And so, with that, I know each one of us has been through something, some type of relationship where, it's not always the men that are doing the abusing or doing some type of, things that just make the relationship not work so well. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And so, Chris, I'm going to throw it to you. Tell me about these 21 traits that you found so we can go over those.
All right, guys. So, we all know the normal ones like sexual abuse, emotional abuse, the regular ones. These ones are the more, I would say, subtle ones where they don't go noticed as quickly. You don't notice that these are happening. It's not like getting hit in the face or being called an asshole or something like that. These are kind of the more subtle things that we don't notice, but they really have a huge effect on us as men. All right, so I'm just going to rifle them off and then we'll talk about them afterwards, okay? First one, gaslighting. Everyone knows that one. Pretty familiar. Projection. This one's probably not as familiar, but happens frequently, usually in the workplace too. Nonsensical conversations from hell. That rebuttal with argument that just makes no sense.
Yeah. I know you want to get through all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's all good, man.
We're going to have to stop right there on that one.
All right.
Right there. Conversations that just don't make no sense, right? Like, it happens all the time where you'll be doing something, like you're just chilling, and all of a sudden, out the blue, you just hit with bam, like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you said this, and it's like, what, huh? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, they're so random at times. Like they will just say things that you wouldn't even think they would say at that moment. Like, where did you come up with that?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense the way that they would, sometimes women would say things. And like, I thought we resolved that issue a year ago. Why are you still bringing that up?
Well, and the funny thing too is it happens like you start the conversation like you want to better the relationship and you want to have a thoughtful discussion to move forward with this problem that you seem to see in your relationship. And then it's like, just a straight mind fuckery of toxic abuse that's just coming at you from every left way. And you did this, you did that, and I did that because you did this, and you act like this because I did that. And it's just like a ping pong session where at the end of it, you literally just feel completely bewildered by what just happened. And they get to walk away like nothing happened as well. Right. And they've won in that case where they leave with this sense of pride that, you're in the wrong and they're in the right. And that never serves a relationship well.
No, I'm sitting there like at the end, like you said, like what just happened? Like, like you just get blindsided by a truck, a little miniature truck at that, smaller. It's like, man. Anyway,
it started with I like chocolate ice cream more than vanilla ice cream, babe.
All right, go ahead and finish reading the list, Chris. We're really excited to hear the rest of it.
All right. Number 4, blanket statements and generalizations. So this is like, you always, you never do the dishes. You never unload the laundry machine. You never pick me up from work, or you never, although you do. It's just not as frequently as they would like, or,
I can't
always, right? That's one we hear in society far too often. Men are always, right?
Well, yeah, that is like, man, you never give me a hug. Like, you always wake up and you just do your thing and you go about your day. It's like, well, not really. I mean, like, I come, I've had a girlfriend who always would say always. That's like, no matter what it is, if I left one sock on the ground, right, because I missed the basket, so you always leave your laundry out and I have to pick it up, or you always leave that cereal bowl in the sink it's like it's one bowl. Like it's okay. Like it doesn't mean we need to argue about it. Like I'll go clean the bowl and put it back. I mean, it's not a big deal, you know?
And when they react in that way, the funny thing is usually it happens that the bowl ends up in the sink far more often. Because you're like, well, if I never do it, then I never do it. Right? Subconsciously, you get stubborn like that. You don't even notice that you're doing it. Right? You're just like, fine.
Or you do things like you do certain things, but they don't realize it. Like, you know, if you do come up and you let's say you like your thing is to passionately kiss your girlfriend on her forehead, right? And then let's say you went a week without doing it. Now it's an argument, and then she brings that up, like, see, you used to kiss me on the forehead, now you never do it ever. And it's like, wait, like, you know, we never watch our favorite show on Netflix together. And I'm like, well, you started watching it without me, so
right? Like there's some logic here, always, man.
Yeah, I
But then she'll
think
say,
women
why?
have their own sense of logic that we don't actually normally agree with men. Like,
Yep,
that's weird.
absolutely.
It's not real. Yeah. Anyway, I was gonna say it's not real logic, but I mean, that's kind of
Logical to them, but not logical to us.
Yeah,
That's kind
and
of the
that's
same
the funny
thing.
thing is that's how they think about our logic, right? Which is crazy, right? You guys are too logical. You're not logical enough.
We'll leave that one. Let's go to number 6.
Yeah, let's dodge this bullet right now. Number 5, deliberately misrepresenting your thoughts and feelings to the point of absurdity. Right. Where are we at here? Number 7, changing the subject to evade accountability. Right. Let's say another one, like we just kind of talked about. You bring up an issue in a relationship and they hit you with something so they can get away from it.
Almost
Yeah.
kind of like deflecting from the real problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I had a girl that same laundry situation, but this is a different one. It's like we were talking about where we're going to go for dinner, and we all know how this goes, right? When you hit a girl, you want to go for dinner, and it's a long conversation drawn out. And for some reason, we was like, we wanted to go about dinner. It was like, okay, let's go here. Let's go to Cracker Barrel. All right, we're going to Cracker Barrel. It's like, why you like going to Cracker Barrel? Is that because you went there with your ex-girlfriend and blah blah blah? And it's like, wait, what? Like, we're just talking about Cracker Barrel. Then she's like, well, what about this and that? Like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about just going to dinner. I just want to go get something to eat. Yeah, but you took Stacy to Cracker Barrel. Now you want to go to Cracker Barrel. I thought you liked Cracker Barrel. I do, but that's not the point.
That sounds like jealousy
I
to me,
took her to
though.
Walmart too.
That sounds like jealousy to me, though. Trying to compete with the ex.
Yep. All right, another one here. Covert and overt threats. So these are like just straight up, like you ever, leave me with a bill at a restaurant, I'm going to have somebody chase you down and kill you, or I'm going to scratch up your car, or those little ones that are less straight in your face. Like, this one time a guy did this to me and I did that back, in the back of your mind, you're like, wait a minute, this is sketchy. Number 9.
I'll slap your head off. It's like, but you're like 5 foot. I mean, like, sometimes women forget how small they are. Not that they're not strong and powerful and beautiful, but at the same time, it's like that physical aspect, it's like, I'll whip your ass. Well, okay.
It's going to be kind of hard to do that when you're down here and I'm up there.
Yep. Number 9. This one is like a number 1 rule of my household: no name calling. If I'm in a relationship with you, man, I will never call you a name. I will never call you a bitch when we argue. None of that. It just cannot happen. Even one time, you can do it under your breath and in your mind all you like, and it will never hurt the other person. But you can never take those words back. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Remember that, especially with your children. You can never take those words back.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest thing from my past is I felt with the toxic traits is that right there, where you're having a heated discussion and you get called a name like just anything, like you don't even know blah 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 because you're just a scumbag, or they. I really don't want to say the type of words I've heard, but we all know what we've heard from our significant others who's supposed to be a significant other, and women will say the most outrageous things, and if we retaliate and say something, then like the word bitch or something like that, if we retaliate, then the whole conversation will shift, and that's all they're focused on. You think I'm a bitch, or you think I'm this and that.
Yeah,
But they throwing all these knives of words at us. You're just a weak man. You can't even carry my bags on the biggest day. Blah 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 blah. All that, and we just gotta stand there and take it. Like that. That is what really gets to you after a while. Cause you're just like, it just boils inside you. You just get so frustrated. Like, man, why are you calling me all this stuff? Like, I'm not even calling you out your name, but you're doing that to me, and I just gotta sit here and take it. Like that's just not right at all.
Not necessarily. You don't have to sit there and take it. A lot of times, just because we think we're the men, we're supposed to hold in everything that we're saying and never have any conversation, dialogue. But that's what makes a relationship a healthy relationship, when you can talk without cussing with each other.
Yep. It's something I bring up almost immediately if I enter into a relationship with somebody. Like, before we're even boyfriend and girlfriend, it's talked about, like, if you can respect this one boundary in our relationship, we will be so much stronger. But the second somebody crosses that line, our relationship is destined to fail. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Because it's also demeaning. It's also demeaning when you call somebody that.
Yeah, right? Though that word will bounce around in your head for the rest of your relationship every time you guys get into an argument. Every single time. Every time you leave the house mad, every time she's upset at you, every time you go to sleep angry, that word is just going to bounce around inside your mind, inside your heart. And that's where you need to be the strongest, right? So it's never going to work. I think we're on number 10 or 11 here. Destructive conditioning. So this is slowly, like, all the good stuff about your life. They will learn it and then use it against you later on. In ways that are like completely blindsiding and backwards, but they hurt nonetheless. I'm just going to stop numbering them because I can't remember them, guys. All right. Smear campaigns and stalking. This is pretty common after a relationship, right? She'll tell your friends that you're a dirtbag and all the things that you magically, imaginarily did through your relationship that were never brought to the table or told anyone else ever the entirety of your relationship. And then all of a sudden you're all these things later on. And it's basically an attack on your character and your integrity, which as men, there's nothing that we hold more value and more pride in than our integrity. When somebody attacks that in a way that's completely false, it's so detrimental. And there's nothing that will break your mind down faster than something like that.
Well, yeah, for men, right? The number one thing, no matter what we get called, the number one thing you do not tell a man, regardless of how it is not tell him he's not good in bed, or he has a small member, right? No matter what. And then after a relationship, things may have been going great the whole time. She's feeling it, you're feeling it, the physical aspect. That's what I'm talking about, the physical aspect. And then when it's over, now she's telling her friends, oh, he's got a small member and, he never did me good and I had to fake it every time. And it's like, that's the one thing like women cannot say to men, because that will destroy us on the inside. No matter how massive you are or not, right? No matter how good you put it down or not, it's going to eat at your ego. And you're going to constantly think about that. You may be, I'm just going to stop there. But yeah, Yeah, I was gonna stop there, but yeah, that is the one thing that women cannot say, and they do after relationship. They just smear you because they want to make you feel like lower than dirt, and that's to know that one way that they can get to you is by attacking your manhood down below.
Yep. Another one is saying that you are abusive.
Oh
When
yeah,
you,
that's very common. Like
man,
women will
I know
say
so
that you
many
are
men.
abusive, and that is not even the case.
Yep.
It's not even one scratch mark on you.
Yep. And the thing with society is that the instant a man gets called something like that, they spend the next subsequent number of years disproving that. And that's not something cool, to constantly be under a microscope. It takes literally just a few words from somebody to ruin your life. And you have to prove your innocence, even though, it's very clear, right? Like too many fathers lose their children because of stuff like this. And this is a serious issue, especially in Canada. So all you Canadian men out there who need a place to chat, man, come and join us, because I'm here for you and I'm understanding what you're going through. Another one we got. What do we got here? Love bombing. This one is famously used by narcissistic parents, man. They will abuse you and then 10 minutes later tell you how much they love you and care about you. And it's getting to the point where you don't know what love is, but your brain needs it. So you're constantly searching for it from others, right? So when somebody love bombs you, and especially an abuser, you're going to go back to look for that little teeny tiny bit of love that they gave you at some point, right? And it's an easy way for them to break down your barriers when you've when you've reclused and you know that you got to be safe. It's a good way for them to break down your guard so they can get back in and abuse you again. And it will happen. It will happen again. Right?
And just like they say, like, if a man hit a woman one time, he'll hit her again. But in this case, and we're talking about the woman, if the woman hit you one time, it's still the same rules still apply. If they abuse you one time, what makes you think they're not going to do it the second time or the third time, or as many times as you keep letting them do it? We got to be better.
It's pretty low stats for people who move on to not be abusive after physical abuse in a relationship. If somebody's, punched somebody else in the face, chances of that happening in the future are usually pretty high, unless that person puts in a serious amount of work. But at that point, the relationship is over. Like you cannot rebuild a relationship from physical abuse. It just cannot happen. You can say that it can, and you can lie to yourself, and hide it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's something that anyone can thrive after.
Yeah, that's the one thing I keep to myself or keep pride in myself that I know no matter what type of toxic traits that I've felt and have thrown at me in emotional abuse, I've never gotten to that point where I let myself go and physically abuse the other person. And so no matter how close you get, you picture in your head, like, man, that's just one good time, but
let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that, because the thought is there.
Oh yeah,
that situation, right?
Absolutely.
And let's normalize that. That's an experience that many men beat themselves up over. So how do you deal with that, man? How did you get through feeling that feeling? Because that fucked me up the first time I ever felt that. When I was like, ooh, I swear to, afterwards I was like, wait a minute, what am I as a man?